It looked like no one has done. Okay. But I asked each point to measure the velocity. So it's up to you since whether you want to do or not. So the P0 price, when you calculate the velocity, is coming 0. With the $1 here below the mid price, that is the 2. At this point, you get the 0.33. And the midpoint in the $2, you get 1 here. Here, $3, you get 3. And here, infinity. Now, what we notice here, when the price increase, the given demand constant, the same slope, linear demand constant. When the price increase, elasticity also increase. Velocity also increase. Now, just to understand the meaning. Now, for example, let's say that we estimate the price elasticity at $1, it came minus 0.333. But here, somewhere here. What does real mean? Real meaning is with the price, for example, change 1% or percentage change of price. If you price change 1%, demand, quantity of demand change only 0.33. For example, the price increase 1%, demand decrease. This happen always opposite. 0.333. So that's the percentage change. Now to sensitivity. Now, I have a small question from you, though you are not always answering. Now, if you have a product and you selling it, you estimated the price elasticity and came the price elasticity as 0.33. At that point is good for you as a increase your income.
But
Oh,
price increase.
What's the good thing to do?
Price increase, sir.
Now, this is another example. Let's say the price elasticity is, let's say 1.6%. Such a situation, what you best think?
Price decrease.
Something like this. Let's say you have a demand function. Say what you calculate elasticity 0. With the price 4, elasticity become infinitive. What you got the price 2, elasticity what you got the 1. The other prices I asked price 1, elasticity what you got the 0.33. The other price I asked elasticity at price 3, that velocity become 3. Now, point here, below mid price, the price elasticity less than 1, which means this area is the demand or price setting. If you calculate the willingness to pay maximum, if you find in the mid price, below mid price, the price elasticity is less than 1, which means inelastic situation. Above the mid price, somewhere here, elastic type of price elasticity greater than 1, you can see. My point is not that. Now we can find the price elasticity and supply of producers revenue. Supply of producers revenue. Now what happened until the price elasticity 1 or midpoint, the relationship between revenue and the elasticity like this. Now this point is here, like I asked before, if someone is the price elasticity is 0.33, the income they stand up 0.8. Increase in price from this point, increase in price, he move, for example, let's say move to B direction, which means you can see here also increase in and reach to B, income increase. If the price elasticity is less than 1, increased price is result revenue increase. The opposite happen if the price elasticity less than 1, decrease price. For example, A to C point, you can see revenue decrease. Revenue decrease. The opposite here, the price elasticity is greater than 1, which means elastic range. When the increased price, income reduce. When the reduced price, income increase. So that happen, that understanding important. The relationship between the price elasticity and revenue. Now this understanding not only the managerial level, or if you run a firm's firm level, policy level also important. Policy in the sense macro level policy, finance, fiscal, monetary, that. When the government introduce some policies, for instance, tax or subsidies, this is very important. The understanding this relationship and also calculate the price elasticity, keep in hand. So then, for instance, while the price elasticity is true, if the government decide to increase the tax, ultimately what happened, the government tax revenue long-term reduce. Because the company revenue reduce and the company the one pay tax and then government tax rate. So that's very important, that relationship. Now, one thing we learn, another thing, linear demand, same constant, same slope. When the price change, elasticity change. Other thing, in the same price, without price change, the slope change the demand equation. Same price but different slope. That also help to, or result, the elasticity change, increase or decrease. Two ways in case of linear demand function, same linear demand curve, different price elasticity change. same price, for example, here if you, the point here, mark here, let's say the price is $3. It measure the elasticity, both demand function, demand curve, latter one, the other one. You get the different result. So any questions or any clarifications at this point? Okay.
So that means the slope of the demand curve is equal to the elasticity. Am I right, sir?
The slope of the demand curve is very important for the mesh elasticity. It's decide, the slope was the one really decide the elasticity. And yeah, what I try to say, even the same slope, that with the linear demand curve, when the price change, the elasticity change. The different slope with the same price, also elasticity change. That's the main key point at last I try to explain. Now, like I explained before, you can measure the price elasticity like this also, for example. So, for example, the percentage change in the quantity divided by the percentage in price. So we did that exercise. Let's say the price say percentage change increased the price 10%, and the result, the quantity reduced 15%. Then the elasticity you can measure 1.5. You see the 1.5 is the higher than the 1, greater than 1. So in that way, if increase price further, this particular good is not good for increase in revenue, not good for the supply. Now, this is the one I did with you, 8 minus, and measure the elasticity and the different places. Like here, the one elasticity is less than 1. They are the more elastic. Here, the inelastic greater than 1. And different slope, you can say elasticity change. This is completely inelastic situation. And this is completely, sorry, previous one elastic, this one completely elastic situation. Now, this also is very important to understand what are the determinants of price elasticity. So in the DOE exam, I'm not going to directly ask. One of the determinants is number of substitute your product as bread, cake, and substitute. The another one, percentage of expenditure to your budget. It's a small percentage if you spend out of your budget. Reaction is very slow. So, which means in such a situation, the goods must be inelastic. Now, imagine you expend particular good is about 80-90% of your budget, your salary. So, that expenditure component proportion is matter also decided. And the durability of the goods. Can keep the long term, that is also very important. When you measure the durable good, you get the low elasticity. And the other one also length the time period, short term or long term. Same good, you can estimate the price elasticity short term. For example, let's say cigarette consumption, cigarette demand. So budgetary, always you can see the tax increase, then the treasury people has to measure the elasticity, short term and the long run, to see the impact of tax policy changes and government expenditure changes. The other one is the consumer preference, of course, at the end you get it. Like I explained another concept, the elasticity, what you call income elasticity. Take the parameter, income elasticity parameter, and estimate. That also very easy to measure if you take the simple way, percentage change in quantity of demand and divide by percentage change in income. So that way you can measure income elasticity. For standard formula, like as you get the income elasticity, change in quantity divide by change in income, multiply income divide by quantity. So with that we can measure the income elasticity. Now, not like price elasticity, income elasticity can be positive, can be negative, can be zero. Whatever way happen. It can be negative, can be positive, can be zero. Based on that, we can identify different type of goods, like a high income elasticity, which means more than one. We consider the goods are superior luxury. If the income elasticity is 0 to 1, those goods we consider as normal good, and the less than 1 we consider as an inferior good. So 3 types of good you can identify looking at income elasticity. Superior normal or luxury normal and inferior good. Yeah. Now this one is happened in USA in 1981. But the USA government, Department of Agriculture, they want to take the decisions related to price change. What they did is 1981, they estimate the demand function is like supply function both. Supply function 1,800 plus 240, demand function 3,000 like that. Now what I need from you, looking at this, the equilibrium point, if it's possible, tell me whether the government, Department of Agriculture, have to decide increase price or decrease price if such. Whether the price decision, whether they decide to increase price or decrease price. So I'll give you 5 minutes to think of or try to bring an answer valuable. So these are the information what we have. I want to know at this point, you can find the market price, equilibrium price. They are the price. I hope you understood. We'll give you 5 minutes to see whether you can do. After that 5 minutes, I will come up you randomly. Then we will continue. Yeah. If anyone has done, I want to see it. Please share. Arun,
Yes, sir. Shall I send it to the chat, sir?
you can share if you have done and I just want to see. Akshan,
I've done it, sir. I will share the screen with.
okay.
I have shared.
Yeah, I can
It
see.
is in,
Okay.
yes, sir. It is
So
inelastic
where is the
and
graph?
I didn't draw it, sir.
You have a graph. I want to see. And I asked what your decisions basically.
Yes, sir. We have
Can you,
to increase the
did you draw the
price.
graph?
No, sir.
No, right. Okay.
We have to increase the price to.
Okay. Yeah, here, so the market price, what the USA government did estimate the supply function and the demand function, and then find the market price. At the market price, which means $3.46, and quantity also, like the demand and the supply. So the market price is 3.46 and the quantity 2,630. Here the estimated demand elasticity at that price is the answer coming 0.32. No, if it is the price elasticity, which means the less than 1, somewhere here, the government may decide to increase the tax, because in that way, ultimately government revenue can increase, because the elasticity is inelastic level, right? Only thing is, in the exam purpose, if you draw the demand and supply curve like this, I deduct some marks because, like I explained, if you draw the demand curve like this, here you have maximum willingness to pay point and the midpoint. Below the midpoint only, you get the elasticity less than 1. In that way, your supply curve must cross somewhere here to get the elasticity this. Not like the previous chart, like a midterm, mid price here, can't be here. This is wrong. So be careful in the exam. I look at that one. Because understanding elasticity, the value, you can draw, and you can, if you want to match the supply and demand equilibrium price, has to be perfect place.
So can you
So
repeat
otherwise I
that?
will deduct some marks. Yeah.
Can you
That's-
repeat that? Can you repeat that, please? The line,
Unfortunately, I did not hear you.
sir, can you repeat that one? The line has to be below the midpoint.
Okay. What I said is, since velocity is a 0.32, which is less than 1, the equilibrium point must be somewhere here, not above the midpoint. If you draw the graphs, demand and supply curve, the equilibrium point settling like in the previous chat, I deduct some marks because that is conceptually wrong. Okay. Now, the other thing also what we learn, short run and the long run. The short run, since the demand curve is much steeper, we will get inelastic demand, the long run elastic. That's true because the long run enough time to adjust. So high elastic. Income elasticity also we discuss how get inferior good, superior good, and normal good situation. That also we discuss. And this also we discuss the relationship between elasticity and the total revenue and the price increase. In case of elastic situation, higher the elastic, the revenue also increase. So in that graph like here, we discuss. Higher the elasticity, revenue increase, the price decrease, revenue decrease, the price increase. So opposite here also happen. Same thing. Now this is the last point today I'm going to take with you. After that I finish the elasticity. Here the calculated value, you have price elasticity, cross price elasticity, income elasticity. The two goods, they are substitute Pepsi and Coca-Cola. Now these are very important values if you are a manager, if you are a policy maker. Understanding, for example, this kind of elasticity happened, let's say the price elasticity 1.47, we know elastic. Let's say if you are not monopoly, if in case of monopoly, you can decide the price increase, decrease, and you can make the revenue increase or decrease. If the elasticity is 1.47, increase in price never happen, revenue increase, then have to decrease. Let's say you are a small player, you can't change it, and somehow market shock or the government policy, it increase or decrease price. For example, let's say increase price, government tax or whatever reason. Then you know when the increase price, demand reduce more than that percentage, and ultimately revenue will reduce if the elasticity is like this. The problem now there, as a price strategy, you can't change the price because you are a small player, you don't have no power. If a government change, you can't do that even. So, but you have some other instrument to handle this one, ultimately get a higher price. Think of those kind of strategies, either maybe advertisement or whatever the way, or human resource management or inventory kind of issue, stop those kind of chain, you can do that. Or maybe some of the producers, from producers, if government does like that, you can see the whole rice mafia and the electricity. And right now you can see so many things happen in this country. They, since the rice mafia case, a few oligopoly market, few control. When the government change the reduce or increase the price, they use those different strategy. I know I don't think so in the what Sri Lankan use the best thing.
But they do kind of strategies. The government fail ultimately what the government try to do. So small players also can use like that strategy to stay in the market and earn more revenue kind of situation. The cross price elasticity also very important. There you understand your competitors or other substitute price change, what you have to do. Even the same, like suppose the retailer, in this case the Coca-Cola and the Pepsi. If you're a retailer, you sell both. That way the cross price elasticity, you can adjust your inventory management and other logistic thing accordingly. And the income elasticity also same. Even think of like a competitors, Pepsi and Coca-Cola, even the retailers selling both. Now, for example, let's say the income elasticity, the Pepsi is 1.3 is very high. It's considered as a superior luxury kind of thing compared to Coca-Cola. Now, if you deal with the kind of a community with a high income level, rather not rich, but high income level, then you can see you need more Pepsi, not Coca-Cola. Let's say you are a dealer, regional dealer. You distribute Coca-Cola and Pepsi both. The kind of low income areas, you may put more Coca-Cola than the Pepsi. Because they are moving in the low income area more, Coca-Cola, not Pepsi. Slump area like that. So this kind of decisions you can take if you have an idea, if you know the income elasticity, and also let's say that whatever reason in the future, this is July, let's say August, seasonal pattern or whatever, the price going to reduce. Then accordingly, you can change your inventory, your logistic plan, your stock, and the other advertisement also. So that is very important to keep this number, estimate the number. And the policymakers also very important in that way. Policymakers can reduce the harms to the society as well as the harms to the treasury. I don't think in Sri Lankan contents our policymakers keep them and make the policies and they look at those things. But that is a thing. Now, this example question here, also what will happen to the demand for Coke if income increased by 10%? Coca-Cola income elasticity by 8. If the 10% increase income, you can estimate, you can predict the demand for Coca-Cola in that way. In this example, demand increased by 5.8. 5.8. You see, different ways, different level take the managerial decision. You can use this elasticity concept. So what I tried to do here today, just to understand, just to measure the elasticity, different type of elasticity, demand, supply, income, cross elasticity, or whatever the variable you use to estimate demand and supply function, you can estimate the elasticity. Even the supply function, technology same. Related that you can estimate the supply technology elasticity like that. Now with that, I will continue next week. Is government intervention to this kind of market. Here the basic intervention what we take, the price control, tax and subsidies kind of intervention. And most probably the next week I will give you an exercise to do inside the class related to elasticity and give marks also. Now this slide maybe I explain next week to show how, though the behalf of the government, our policymakers and experts are to take the decision. Now this study has done 2022, IMF using USA data. you can see how differently behave policymakers and experts and the ground level people, general public, that really matter for failure the government policies, government intervention, thinking pattern. Maybe their thinking pattern different, or maybe they don't study the situation, maybe theory is wrong. Theory wrong. Some kind of, let's say the government expenditure increase, theoretically, though we expect inflation or unemployment reduce, but is really the ground level does not happen. So this study done in USA, someone you can do in Sri Lanka also, like the policymakers and expert and household, their behavior. So that is very important. With that, I will next week look at this government intervention using demand and supply curves, how it's affect to the consumer surplus and producer surplus and the well-being of the people. So there, I will stop today. If you have any questions, you can ask me. I can wait some more time. Otherwise, you can leave the meeting. For next week, most probably, because I saw today there very least attendance, and most probably related to elasticity, I will take do a case study. Okay. If no question, no clarification, thank you very much and see you next week.